They want men to be weak because here's why. Like, if you want to break a society, the first thing that you do is you make the men weak. And the other thing that you do is you over-sexualize society. And they've done this on purpose. That's why, like, in schools, they'll be like, porn is healthy. It's normal to watch porn, right? Like, masturbate as much as you can. Okay, cool. So you're going to lower your testosterone. And the most important thing is you are going to bring about a feeling of shame. And on the spectrum of emotion, shame is the worst thing you can feel. Guilt is above shame. Because shame means fundamentally I'm a bad person.
One of the main reasons why men become weak is masturbation. There are two forms of masturbation that are weakening men. Number one is mental masturbation, where a man wastes time online mentally jerking off to information without actually embodying any of it. It becomes particularly prevalent in the personal development space. The second form of masturbation is the obvious one, which is to porn, and this depletes men on a physical level but also a mental level, because when a man ejaculates, he's depleting or wasting his vital life force energy. And then secondly, his dopamine is being depleted because of the scenes and the visuals that he's seeing from his mind. If you want to step into a new level of power and confidence as a man, stop watching porn, stop ejaculating, and then channel that energy into applying a new piece of information that's going to support you in the attainment of your goals.
As a man, the simple course should be deterred nowadays of easy routes, hacks, and deceives. These things are not really truly rearing more grounded, more strong men. It makes the accompanying. Number 1, misleading certainty. You shouldn't be a top-level trust in your 20s. Quit believing you should be some high-worth superstar. I realize we've referenced the stunts like broaden your position, making eye contact, turning down the volume only a bit of spot, yet haven't arrived to be little prankster folks. We would rather not alternate route the cycle. We need a real certainty. We need a certainty where we don't for even a moment need to attempt. It's exactly what our identity is. Thus, the most effective way to acquire that genuine, credible certainty is to really have something to be sure about. Remember those days where you have a test at school. You two kinds of individuals, the ones that are minimal uneasy and apprehensive in light of the fact that they realize they presumably haven't concentrated adequately on. They didn't invest the energy, so they're simply expecting to skim by. Then you got your other gathering, which is a tiny and spooky gathering of men that stroll in there, loose with their heads held high since they realize they got this. They've been investing the energy. They've been reading up for a really long time, so it's similar to a conundrum. Assuming you need more certainty, quit focusing so vigorously on it and simply go out and carry on with your life. Propel yourself, put forth objectives, and hit them. They don't need to be enormous, huge objectives. The general purpose is to escape your usual range of familiarity, regardless of whether it just improves you 1% each and every day. Simply progress a tad at a time. The second thing I see a ton of young fellows, yet everyone doing these days, is self-diagnosing themselves with wretchedness, which is extremely hazardous. I don't intend to affront anyone, yet it simply appears to be recently similar to inside the last 5 years to a decade. Everyone is miserable. Everyone's discouraged, which I'm not expressing that these things aren't genuine, but rather many people are sitting back, rationalizing of why they can't push ahead throughout everyday life. There's a significant distinction among dissatisfaction and sorrow. The majority of you simply have times of disappointment throughout everyday life, and they announce themselves as depressed. Be exceptionally cautious with the name that you're putting on yourself. Anything that you have faith in has control over you. Andrew Tate gave this astounding similarity. Take two individuals, one that believes in ghosts and the other doesn't. Put them both in a spooky place for an evening. Bang an uproarious commotion around midnight. The individual who believes in ghosts will flip their noodle. They will hit up an exorcist. They will conceal in their storeroom. The other individual who doesn't will say that is wind and return to rest. It's a similar clamor in a similar situation, yet the mindset to them breaks their life. Be extremely cautious about what name you put on yourself, since you give it control over your life and over your brain. Number 3, moment satisfaction. In a world that advances moment self-joy and fulfillment in a solitary second, this has turned into our age's war. There's a feeling of sluggishness that has happened upon us all. We've become lethargic, frail, and careless. We come up short on need to believe that should accomplish more or progress, and this is a direct result of these seemingly insignificant details. These little devices that offer that extreme dopamine hit the entire day. The American eating regimen has quite recently become an ever-increasing number of ruffian throughout the long term. Then went along computer games, which is even more unmistakable than any other time. Then you had this sucker that offers ladies of any shape, size, and variety at the snap of a button. You got TikTok, which offers a dopamine spike like clockwork. Any single second that you get exhausted, you simply swipe to the next, get that next dopamine hit. To this end, you'll stay there and acknowledge 2 hours went by. I recollect that I was going to the restroom and I coincidentally turned on TikTok to actually look at a portion of my examination. Out of nowhere, one video grabbed my eye, and without acknowledging it, time just flew. The next subject is carelessness. Men have become so smug. What's the distinction from carelessness and satisfaction? Satisfaction is being appreciative for what you have. Smugness is by and large fine with anything you have. At the point when you accept this untruth that this is essentially as great as life gets, it's a dark pill mindset. You come up short on need to try and believe that should accomplish more. You have no drive, no energy to advance. It's a substance. These organizations in a real sense concentrate on drugs, how they treat your cerebrum, and they take that data and apply that to their foundation to keep you snared each and every day so that way you continue to live down there. Number 5, men have no liability. If you actually got breath in your lungs, that implies the work's not got done, and in each and every snapshot of your day, you should follow through with something. You became living intentionally. A man who needs reason generally occupies himself with joy. Assuming you're lounging around with lots but idle time, you begin composing on the console, taking a gander at pictures and recordings that you realize you ought to not be checking out. The more you add to your plate, the more you simply jam-pack your timetable. Continuously have something you really want to do, consistently have liabilities. It will just make you a superior man. You may be somewhat more worried. You could have significantly more added strain to your life. However, you need to understand that men were made for that reason. This is our bodies and our psyche's specialty. In the event that you're simply as yet residing at home with your folks, get yourself a dog. Have something that you really want to deal with. Make this life greater than just yourself. Set up and plan gatherings truly promptly in the first part of the day, so that way you realize you need to get up early. The 6th and last thing that I see a great deal of men doing these days is gulping the blue pill. I'm discussing the blue pill that offers obliviousness, trickery, lies, and culture offers. They put it in a decent, lovely box with a beautiful bow. That doesn't work any longer. What happens when you follow culture is you just become one more pinion in the machine. The main way for the public authority to become and to stay supreme in our lives is to slander the possibility of a custom and a family continually. These things that culture is advancing and letting us know, like it's beneficial to have an open relationship, an open marriage, and welcome others in. Are they truly developing a family? Is it true or not that they are developing ages of more grounded men? I don't see it. Present-day men are finished weasels. They search for their character of masculinity out there on the planet. They believe it's the vehicles, ladies, the belongings, the muscles, whatnot. Gain proficiency with reality so that you can predict the falsehoods. Ensure you subscribe to this channel and hit the notifications button. Harmony generally.